All conversations and information exchanged during participation in this podcast or interaction on the DrDrew.com website is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Do not confuse this with treatment or physician medical advice or direction per se. You must always follow your medical professional's advice and direction. Nothing on these podcasts or posted on this site supplements or supersedes the relationship and direction of your medical caretakers. Please understand, I am not playing the role of physician in this environment per se. I'm educating. I am a licensed physician with specialty boards in American Board of Internal Medicine and American Board of Addiction Medicine. Hey, buddy, this is Dr. Drew.
And this is Dave from Dopey. And welcome to This Life, #YouLive.
I have our new special guest here today, New York co-host Dave from Dopey podcast. He is very kindly filling in while I'm out on the road in New York, and hopefully we'll have a good show.
Happy to do it.
It's a privilege to have you, man. You and I have been through some roller coaster experiences on mics.
That's for sure.
You know, I mean, I get emotional thinking about my first experience with you was with Chris, and then the next one was without, shockingly, and then the next one was still sort of trying to contend and make sense of that. Yeah.
Well, that's something that I don't think it ever goes away because the show was born with him. But, you know, when I think about it, I get sad, obviously. Yeah. I hear a song and I think about it. And also the growth of Dopey podcast is on the back of his death. Oh, and when you talk about recovery, you talk about stepping over bodies, and I kind of literally had to do it in this scenario.
Oh, no, you need to keep doing this podcast. Yeah. And he would want you to have, too.
I think he would have, and I love to make the show, and I love the community that's grown from it. And I'm super happy to be here with you today. Today we also have interesting guest, Timpf from the Greg Gutfeld show on Fox. Kat is a writer, comedian, commentator. She's from Detroit, lives in New York. She currently works as a reporter at the National Review, writes columns, satire pieces, and she is a malignant libertarian. Whenever I wonder if I'm a libertarian, I measure myself against her, and I realize I am not. Greg Gutfeld shows are Saturday at 10 Eastern. She's also the co-host of the Tyrus and Timpf podcast on Fox News Podcasting. But first, it's just going to be Dave and I. You can follow Dave at Dopey Podcast, and we're going to answer some emails and chat amongst ourselves and just have a good time here in New York City. It sounds good to me. We're at the luxurious Hudson Yards, right down the street from where I record the Dopey all the time and where I grew up.
Do you live there now, or do you?
No, my dad lives there, and whenever I have a guest on the show, nobody wants to come out to where I live on Long Island, so we just go here.
God, I feel like I could throw a stone to that building. Obviously, it's about 2 blocks away.
But from this height, you might be able to. I mean, you guys don't understand the view here. It's like 51 stories up, you can see all of Lower Manhattan. And I said to Susan when I got here, when I look at a view like this, it's like drugs. It's like you can feel like you can swallow the whole city.
Yeah,
it's so beautiful.
Amazing. It's like
drugs.
I'm amazed. To me, I just walk around in wonderment of what humans can do.
Yeah.
It's just constant wonderment. Like, wow, humans did this.
Well, last time I saw you, you mentioned how much you love being in New York.
I do.
And how you love the energy. So
I love all of it, everything about it.
Soak it right up. Here.
Yeah, it's like you're literally, like it's like a superhero. Like you're kidding.
It's like that. It's also like these buildings, like I do these catering jobs in these buildings, and they always call it Avengers Towers when they look at it.
That's hysterical.
You're very much like
oh my God, that's hysterical. Well, and we're looking at sort of these buildings you grew up in. Now, to a non-New Yorker, they would look like housing projects a little bit.
Well, they are.
But they're nicer than that in reality.
And they were Jewish housing projects.
Really?
They were middle-income housing projects.
Wait a minute. Jewish housing project. Who funded it? The government certainly didn't fund that.
Well, it wasn't designed for Jewish people specifically, but it was the International Ladies Garment Workers Union houses, and most of the people involved in the International Ladies Garment Workers Union tended to be Jewish.
The schmata business.
The schmata business. And it's totally multicultural now.
Was that union the result of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire?
I cannot speak on this.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
It sounds familiar, but I'm too uneducated. Fill me in.
New York history. So it's now a building at NYU, but if you look on the side of the down off Union Square, and there's a plaque. I was
when our kids were applying to college, we did an NYU tour, and I was standing there listening to somebody. I just looked to my left, and there was a plaque. I started reading. I'm like, oh my God, this is the Triangle Shirtwaist Building, and it's still there. It was the biggest fire disaster in U.S. history, where a bunch of female women. And girl. Well, I was trying to pick the age group. It's like girls and women. Shirtwaist manufacturing. They were sitting at sewing machines. Got caught on the top floor, and hundreds died, didn't they? Mm-hmm. And it was just this huge catastrophe. It's why you had fire escapes.
Wow.
The fire escapes were mandated after that fire. And it was just this catastrophe, and it was kind of like 9/11 before 9/11. It was that size catastrophe for the city. Mm-hmm. Women were jumping out of the building and all this stuff, and it was just terrible.
I don't know if those buildings were made in the wake of that, and my dad will be very disappointed that I didn't know this story. So I feel
well,
bad.
I'm not thinking about the building so much as did that union form as a result of it. That's what I'm thinking.
The weird thing is that it became public housing. It's a lottery system. I actually got on the list for the apartments when I was 11. I got the apartment when I was 22. I lost the apartment when I was 25 because I was such a fucked up junkie. So my grandparents moved in there, and my grandfather was a dentist. He did not work for the International Ladies Garment Workers Union. So I think it was just straight lottery based on income, how you got in.
When I walk through that area, and it's kind of a curvy 30 takes a curve or something, right? 30th Street or 37st?
It's 28th Street.
Okay, 28th, and it takes a weird curve right there, which is unusual in New York because it's otherwise at this part of town it's just grid. It's just perpendicular lines, but it takes a little curve right there. I guess they did that as part of the development, right?
It's very beatific, like super, like almost suburban life.
Yes.
Behind the building, there are these playgrounds, and you're very safe in there.
Yeah, I totally agree. But non-New Yorkers would not relate to it that way.
The hardcore projects are here. The Elliott projects, the real Chelsea projects. These are the real projects.
Yeah.
Those are the middle-class Jewish projects. These are like the hardcore Spanish black projects. This is where you go to score. That's where I went to nursery school. It's down here.
Now, are they still? I mean, any housing now in New York is no longer poverty, right? Everything is no longer impoverished. Everything is expensive.
Well,
that
this
changed?
Is still public. Both buildings are still public. The one that I grew up in is more middle income, and I had to pay a surcharge to live there. Here, it's lower income, and it's like in Manhattan, people need affordable housing.
Well, that's the thing about Manhattan that people don't appreciate is that every beautiful building you see it comes along with public housing. They are required to create housing for people that have difficulty paying rent or getting housing at all. And I admire that so much about New York. And by the way, it's how they build the community here because everyone's on top of each other and living together. And it's not as though, we're talking about these housing structures over here as though they were separated. They're not. It's all together. It's just there's different groups in different housings.
Well, that's why I'm sure you love New York.
Yes, it is.
That's the difference between New York and Southern California.
Yes.
Southern California is very segregated.
Yeah.
I lived out there, and it was very weird for me. Here, you live on top of everybody.
Yeah.
You get on the train with everybody.
Yes.
And it's key.
I love that.
But not to mention, with New York being the way New York is now, not everybody can live, like the Sultan of Brunei. Not everybody
is. Oh, my God.
So, somebody has to take care of it. I've been a waiter for 10 years, and you need affordable housing. You just do, or else all of these people can't be attended to.
No, they would. You would not be living on the island, and then they'd have a transportation disaster like in Los Angeles.
I love New York. New York is like a part of me in a big way. Every day, I take that commute, and then I walk from Penn Station to the Lower East Side to work every day. I walk.
That's a fair distance,
and I walk back, but I need it. I soak it up. I soak up the life.
Do you take different routes every day?
Every day.
The restaurant's where?
It's on Houston and Ludlow Street.
That's a fair distance.
Yeah, it's a good walk. I mean, it keeps me from being obese, considering the amount of cookies I eat.
Does it take you 45 minutes?
Yeah. It's a 45-minute walk. I do Dopey business on the phone. I kind of daydream. I talk to friends. I talk to my sponsor. I talk to... I had one sponsee who doesn't seem to be doing great.
Oh.
But I'll get another sponsee eventually, I'm sure. But it's like my time. It's like my meditation.
Well, let's talk about that sponsee for a second. And I'm not telling you what to do explicitly, but I will just say that executing people, so to speak, cutting them out, is nothing reaches people better than I can't work with you. Get out of here. Scram.
Well, we never even started working together.
No.
We started working together on a week that he had no money. And then the next week he had money, and I never heard from him again.
Oh, geez.
So,
well, I would just say that there were many of my most difficult therapeutic interventions, and the ones that had the most impact were the ones where I just kicked people out. I've said I'm sorry.
well, tough love is powerful love.
It is, but it's when you're in this disease, not a lot of things get your attention. And when somebody, because you always think part of the illness is you think you can manipulate your way through anything. And if somebody cuts you out, there's no more manipulation. And that really gets that addicts go, what do you mean? Righteous indignation and all that stuff.
Well, it's effective, especially because they get away. We get away with so many things,
so much.
And we need that. I think, that question we always talk about is what can save somebody, what can cure them, and I think tough love, cutting them off, is the path.
Well, it's that everything has its time, right? People. This is the average person cannot get this. People are not ready till they're ready. Correct? Yes. And if they're not ready, and you know it, and you've tried everything, the next most impactful thing that will be part of the process of getting them to ready is what I just used to call an execution. Just gone. Just swift and sure. Sorry.
And I'm sure with you, they come back. Dr. Drew, I need help. Dr. Drew, I'm willing to do something.
Don't even give them that opportunity, because of course that's more manipulation.
So how do you make the line, and when can they come back into the fold?
I refer them to other places.
So you're just done.
I will sometimes give people, like, if there's evidence across, there's no hard and fast rule about that. They're certainly not coming back next week.
Right.
But if 6 months goes by and they're in a different place and I can tell they are, sure.
Yeah. You see them doing some work. You see them earning a spot.
Or there's a certain way that you speak when you're ready,
Sure.
And sometimes I'm wrong, but sometimes I'm right when I hear that language.
The worst thing, and you know this almost better than I do, I know it pretty well at this point, is that at this point in the story, an opiate addict who goes out, they just fucking die so fast.
Well, now that's exactly what I was just thinking as I was hearing myself. Like, people are not going to understand what I'm saying. I also offer them replacement therapies. I'm saying, look, you may have failed this kind of therapy. Here are replacement therapies. This might work for you. Here are some cognitive behavioral therapies and motivational enhancement therapies that might get you to the place where you are motivated. My experience has been they don't go for it. They don't do it.
A friend of mine, one of my best friends who I used to play in a band with, he was producing some bands, and there's this kid that was in one of his bands, and when I met him, he was a straight-edge punk rock kid from Westchester. Mm-hmm. He was just brimming with talent and charisma, and he died last week. Mm-hmm. And, when I met him, I was using, and he was straight edge. And now he has two kids.
Baffling.
And he's dead because he wasn't interested in anything besides getting high. Like on Saturday, he texted his best friend a picture of a heroin bag. Mm. This is the kind of fucking idiocy that we're dealing with. And when I say idiocy, I'm an idiot like that. You know what I mean? You don't realize that it's gone.
Let me reframe it. He's in love with it.
Yeah.
And that's hard to break that.
He's also in love with being that character.
You can say that now that you're outside it, right?
I was always idiotic. I'm sometimes idiotic in recovery, and hopefully,
always dopey.
Yeah, I'm as dopey as I can be. But we have emails, right?
We do. Let me look at some of these.
What is that?
There's a party next door.
Party next door.
We don't know if we put your headphones on. See if you can hear that. I doubt you can. These are pretty directional mics.
I think it sounds good.
Yeah. Here we go. So I want to take some emails. Here is somebody who asks, my son said he heard you say vaping is not dangerous and nicotine not a problem. He continues to vape because you said it was not harmful.
Oh, Dr. Drew.
So I thought I'd ask you if the fact is what you said or what he heard. It's a little more what he heard, but it's not way off of what I said. Well, let me be super clear. I am not advocating that adolescents should get addicted to nicotine. I do not like that idea. I don't think it's a good thing. It's an unfortunate thing. But the moral panic around vaping, I cannot understand it. I can't understand it. We have had an uptake in the use of nicotine replacement. There was just an article that came out today that showed that people that use vape in an attempt to stop using cigarettes are 95% more likely to stop than any other means of nicotine reduction.
That's how I stopped smoking.
It's miraculous for some people. It is miraculous. And the fact that people don't understand that nicotine is not, this is probably what your son heard, by the way. Nicotine is not the problem. Tobacco is the problem.
The smoke, right?
The tobacco smoke. Nicotine is unfortunate. You'll get addicted to it, and it can have some cognitive, some mood effects on adolescents, so we're not really sure on that. But for adults, getting addicted to nicotine is a non-issue. Get addicted to nicotine if you need to, if it helps you deal with some other problem. The other, in other words, if you are already addicted to cigarette smoke, then fine, stay addicted to the nicotine, go to the vaping, try to taper off. If you can't, stay on it.
What about this thing? And I don't know what this is, and you're Dr. Drew, and I'm Dave from Dopey, so what the fuck do I know? Go ahead. Popcorn lung. Does that exist?
It does not exist any longer. It was a couple of cases in a certain flavored product that does not exist anymore. So stay away from the flavored products. Just the nicotine products are all we're talking about. We're not talking about cannabis. We're just talking about non-flavored nicotine products.
What was popcorn lung?
Just an inflammatory process.
Sounds terrible, doesn't it?
It was not good. It was not good, but it's inflammatory. Alveolar filling inflammatory lung. Cocaine could do that too. Smoking cocaine, good times.
I ran into this homeless guy just now on the street.
Yeah.
This dude that used to hang out by where I work, and he's named Dave. So he's like, "Hey Dave." I'm like, "Hey Dave." He's like, "Could you hit me off with $1?" And I don't give fucking shit to anybody.
Yeah.
But I like this guy.
Yeah.
So I gave him $1. And we started talking about something or other. And he knows that I'm an addict in recovery. And he was like, "I'm not using anything." I was like, "Dude, you stink of alcohol." And he's like, "Well, I do drink a little wine with vodka mixed in." And I was like, all right, well, that's something. That fucks you up. He goes, "Nah. You know what fucks me up? Smoking heroin with cocaine."
Oh, yeah.
I said, "Yeah, that does fuck you up."
Yeah.
And he said, "The last time I did it, I went blind for 40 minutes. Have you ever heard of that? I never heard of that.
No, but blind, did he describe any weakness too?
No, I looked at his eyes too, and you could see the fucking cataracts or something in there.
Well, he may have cataracts, but that doesn't cause blindness.
No, sorry.
But
that's from masturbation.
How dare you? Blindness is, if he had weakness and blindness, that's called the tip of the basilar artery transient ischemic attack. So that you have an artery down the back of your, sort of feeding the base of your brain. And and your optic nerve is supplied by that on both sides, and it comes off into the two eyes, and the tip of it can get a clot on it, and then it cuts off both the motor to your whole body and vision to your eyes.
Wow!
And so stroke is well known to happen with cocaine, right? And it could be it could be a vascular spasm too. But it's like he dodged a bullet there. Let me go back to the vaping.
Nicotine. I'm sorry.
Wow, that's okay. I like that story.
The other thing about the vaping is that we've seen a indirect relationship between the using of vaping and the using of drugs.
Really?
So in other words, the more vaping, the less drugs. People should be freaking celebrating that.
I wish my mom could have vaped.
Yes, your mom would have been a great vape. She died of dementia related to multi-stroke from tobacco.
Wow.
The nicotine has nothing to do with it except that it severely addicted her. The tobacco is what killed her. And so, again, high vaping, low drugs. We need to examine that a little more carefully, but because there's such a moral panic, no one's looking at it.
That is fascinating. What about the weed vaping? Where does that fit into it?
That's intense. That's like, wax and that kind of stuff. And that's high potency.
I used to love that stuff.
Yeah, that worries me. That's concerning. And
that's also you can use so surreptitiously with it.
I was going to say that's the big issue with vaping, and people slipping in the cannabis. Yeah. But,
that was the best.
Yeah.
Weed vaping in taxis and stuff. I mean, as an ex-stoner.
Well, and now if you're not hardcore, if you're just an average cannabis user, you barely have to take any, and you're going to be high for 3 hours.
What's the story with that? You want to get to the next email?
No, go ahead.
What is the story I saw a month ago or something about with all this cannabis legalization that people are developing these neuroses, these nervous problems.
All
Because
kinds
the
of
weed
problems.
is so potent.
All kinds of stuff.
I mean, to me, they're pussies that they can't handle.
No, the one that's getting most people's attention is at one point was being called scromiting. They get this intractable vomiting from the cannabis, and the vomiting is so intense they scream when they vomit, so they're calling it scromiting.
That is the most amazing thing I've ever heard. Who are these people scromiting?
A lot of them. And they're coming to the emergency rooms with burns because the only relief they get is hot water, hot showers. And they sit in the super hot water to the point they burn themselves.
So this is a Colorado thing or something?
This is a California thing now.
Scromiting?
Well, they don't call it that anymore. It's just intractable vomiting. They call it cannabis vomiting or something.
This is the best thing I've ever heard, scromiting.
Yeah. I know.
I love that.
I know.
It's like a Simpsons bit or something.
I know, but this vomiting from cannabis is not uncommon, and many other things, all kinds of mood disturbances, and
I used to smoke weed to prevent me from vomiting. If I had an upset stomach,
there's that.
I smoked weed,
yes,
and I
that can
felt
happen.
Great.
So it does. See, it has an effect on that what's called the chemoreceptor trigger zone in the brain. But apparently, if you use too much, it goes the other way. Right.
I would be a scrometer.
I'm wondering if someone is a heavy drug user for several years, cocaine and MDMA 2-3 times a week, and has decided to quit, suffers severe depression and insomnia, and the doctors then prescribes SNRI, which helps sleep immensely. Is it possible to eventually quit SNRI and sleep again?
What's SNRI?
I'm assuming she's meaning, so SSRIs hit the serotonin receptors. SNRIs hit both the noradrenergic or norepinephrine and the serotonergic system, so it's like a dual agent. And I'm actually glad that this doctor put her on that, because not everyone knows to do that. When you've done MDMA at that level actually damages your brain. It can potentially do that anyway. Lots of speed, lots of MDMA. That's how you hurt your head for long term.
Is that the holes in the brain kind of thing?
Yeah, it's kind of thing. I mean, that's kind of a grotesque way of talking about it, but there's injury to certain parts of the brain. And the manifestations are sleep disturbances, which this person had, mood disturbances, and short-term memory problems. And if you have that, you're probably going to need to stay on something probably indefinitely. Now, you can try to come off, and I certainly would encourage you to try, but I'm concerned that she may need to stay on that.
What's the street name for MDMA?
Ecstasy.
Yeah, that's what
Ecstasy.
Or Molly now.
Molly.
Yeah. What do you have to stay on?
One of these antidepressants, essentially.
What are the
like Effexor, Wellbutrin, those are the SSRIs, the ones you mentioned. You're familiar with those? Are you on that?
No, I'm not on anything.
It's good.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle.
It's high on the view.
It's a case in point that opioids and opiates leave the brain alone. That was the big advance with opiates. They didn't harm anybody. They didn't cause any problems. They weren't risky in terms of damaging to the brain or body. They didn't know that it carried this other piece of addiction associated with it. Though the guy that invented morphine sulfate got addicted to morphine sulfate.
That makes sense. The thing that fucked up my brain was the benzos.
Benzos can leave some residual, but that usually gets better too.
I find that my memory is just terrible.
Yeah, but then we're getting older.
Yeah, it could be that.
Yeah. So.
What do we got? What's next?
Do we need to take a break? Is that what we're doing here?
Keep talking.
I don't want to use up all the emails. I want to save some for Kat.
The more...
Okay, let's see. 32-year-old, I was a pain pill addict for 10 years, diagnosed with endocarditis, which is a bacterial infection of the heart valve. I had emergency heart surgery to replace my mitral valve. That's what you have to do. Pacemaker implanted, so they got a pacemaker as a result. Now 3 years sober, I have trouble getting hard, fully hard, or staying hard through sex. It's infuriating. Help. I would need to know more. 32 years of age, I would need to know more about...
32, that's sad.
Yeah, I would need to know more about the medications. Probably the cardiac meds are doing that, I'm going to bet. So you might want to talk to your doctor about it, number one. Number two, opiate addicts sometimes have difficulty feeling arousal or fulfilled from orgasm, that kind of thing. It's not an uncommon thing. It's why opiate addicts do the autoerotic asphyxiation stuff.
Wow, like Michael Hutchins.
Exactly.
Yes.
Was he a heroin addict?
I think so.
Yeah. So it's very, very common if you find when somebody died of something even possibly related to autoerotic asphyxiation, it was, number one, and number two, opiate addict.
Now, when you get super technical like this, does Bob Forrest know what you're talking about?
Yeah,
and does
he sees it all too.
Catherwood knows all this stuff?
He keeps up, but Bob and I have dealt with it for so many years. He sees it.
Because I'm drifting here with.
No, you're not. You're on top of it.
High tech terms.
No, you're not. You're completely on top of it.
My father thinks I really had holes in my brain. One time I had a terrible grand mal seizure from benzo withdrawal, and I woke up in St. Vincent's Hospital, which is actually closed now, but that was where my first daughter was born, ironically.
Wow.
And they put me in the MRI, and my dad kept hearing that there were holes in my brain, but they told me my brain had only shrunk a little bit. So this is a big point of contention I have with my father all the time. Shrunken brain versus holy brain.
Holes, so when we talk about the MDMA holes, we're only talking about holes that show up in functional studies, not anatomic studies.
Okay.
So the MRI you had only shows the anatomy of the brain. So the kinds of holes that people think of related to drug addiction would not show up.
I think my dad just likes to hurt my feelings.
Unless you had strokes. They're called, this particular lacunar strokes, which are in the middle of the brain.
They would have seen that, though, right?
You would have been told about that.
All right, good.
Yeah. So the holes in your brain belong there. They're called ventricles. Everyone has holes in their brain.
Thank God.
Yeah, right.
Thank God for my holy ventricles.
We all have holes.
Yours are holy, and yours are HOLY.
So did you go to Stern lately? What's going on over there?
Adam went over there on Monday, and he actually sat on the couch and did the full interview. I was going to do the after show, but they're doing it from out of town or something. So
there's some big controversy with Stern right now.
Around Venji?
Well, I heard about that, but what I heard was somebody's trying to shame Howard because he told his staff to make fake Twitter accounts.
Oh, I saw that. I heard about that.
Which is they should go fuck themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
I love Howard, and I just want
was telling them to do it to get at celebrities so he can get them to the interview. I thought smart, good.
It showed a thing we don't see from Howard, which is weakness in that sort of arena.
I don't think it's weakness. I think it's shrewdness.
Well, I wish that the Dopey fans would create some fake accounts that don't just fucking berate me.
Are they berating you? What kind of stuff do you get?
Just somebody wrote me, we just started a Patreon account, and somebody just texted me or tweeted at me that I must have started the Patreon account so my wife doesn't see that I can still buy dope. That was I mean, and I take
that's
that
actually funny, yeah.
So, exactly.
But it could be.
No, it is not.
I understand it's not, but you're a junkie, so it could have been. I mean,
the Patreon account was which I feel kind of guilty about. I never wanted to ask for money.
Yeah, I know.
But they're ask for money, we want to give you money. The Patreon account was used to advance Dopey.
Yeah.
Today, I went to B&H and I bought some gear that we're enjoying right now.
Oh, you just bought this stuff?
Not this. I bought that mic stand. I bought a new mic. I bought a bag. I was going around with my mother's LL Bean tote bag, and every time I left the house with the gear, it would rain. So I'd have to put some shirts on top of it. I was I'm going to Dr. Drew's.
I love that you're mobile and can do this wherever. This is the best.
It's cool.
All right, we have our special guest coming here in just a second. So we'll take a little break, and we will be right back. Let's talk about CBD. It's, of course, everywhere today. It's a hot topic, and I get asked about it all the time. Bottom line, although there are way more claims, there is very little clinical evidence just yet. The science is lagging behind, but many people are using it and reporting anecdotally very good results. I want to first define exactly what we're talking about here. CBD, or cannabidiol, is an extract from hemp. And while you might associate it with marijuana, CBD is the non-high, non-rewarding component of hemp, and it's responsible for other effects, calming, sleep, not high. Now, about the products. There are a ton of them out there today. Forget the vast array of reported health benefits. It's important to be aware of what you're buying. I was recently introduced to a company called Select CBD, an Oregon-based company that focuses on high-quality ingredients and manufacturing standards, no hype. Their CBD-based products are available in a wide range of formulations and flavors, each of which is clearly described to you so you can make an informed decision without promises that seem too good to be true. Like I said, the reported benefits of CBD are compelling, and I'm excited to see how things develop with the science as this booming industry gets going. So if you want to try CBD, you might check out Select CBD. To learn more, go to drdrew.com/select. That is my site, drdrew.com/SELECT. For a limited time, you can save 25% at checkout with the code DRDREW. All right, we are back. We have our very special guest, Kat Timpf. Hey, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. The Tyrus and Timpf podcast.
Yes.
Get it at
foxnewspodcast.com.
Nice. And what are they going to hear?
They're going to hear a lot of things about our personal lives and also a lot of weird stories about local crimes.
Why?
Because I tend to be interested in that.
Why?
Like the woman who got arrested or banned from Walmart or whatever for drinking wine out of the Pringles can.
That's good.
Or,
So you like the oddity, the criminal oddities.
Yeah.
How about the woman the couple, two women that cut the baby out of the woman and tried to raise the baby?
That's not as fun to talk about.
You prefer drinking out of the Pringles can.
Yeah, it's not as fun to talk about.
Any weird quasi-criminal drug addict behavior that Kat would like, that fits her model?
When I lived in California, and we would get tar heroin, and I was before I shot it. Our thing was we would buy Afrin bottles. We'd empty the Afrin, and we'd always just load it up with tar and put water in there. So wherever we went, it's like vaping. You could surreptitiously be using heroin.
So see, you could be on your way to heroin.
That's quite thrifty.
Yes. Well, it was incredibly effective. And I remember one time I was working for a TV show, and I went into heroin withdrawal, and they shipped me some tar, and I went and I bought the Afrin bottle, and on my way home on the flight, I'm using the Afrin bottle, and my buddy's like, I have a really congested sinus. Can I use the Afrin? And I was like, no. It's so gross to borrow somebody's Afrin.
Yeah, that's gross. Even if it's not heroin Afrin. If something goes in my nose, it's not going to be sharing that. It's like sharing boogers.
It's worse. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
But as a heroin addict, I did much more disgusting things than that.
Like? Give an example.
Well, sharing Afrin bottles of heroin is very disgusting. Sharing needles is pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
I did that once, I have to say.
Bob shared with an HIV positive dude.
That was crazy.
Did you see that documentary about him?
I did.
Yeah.
Do you know Bob Forrest? Mm-mm. He's one of Drew's many friends.
The guy in the celebrity rehab with the hat and the glasses.
Oh, yeah.
He fucking came out of rehab and was dying to get high, so he wound up meeting this old man, and he was about to share the needle with him, and the old man told him that he was HIV positive. So Bob decided to get as much dishwashing detergent as he could, and he washed the shit out of it like 100 times, boiled it, washed it. There's a claymation sequence of him doing it in the movie. It's amazing. The movie's called Bob and the Monster. You should check it out.
And then he just went, I'm going to use it. I'll just use it.
He used it?
He used it, and he lived to tell the tale. He got hepatitis, but probably unrelated.
Hepatitis C from somebody else.
Yeah.
There's some noise in the background. There's a party in the next room. We're in this sort of open space, but I don't think they can really hear this.
There's a party in here, too.
Yeah, this is the party.
This counts as a party.
This is the party.
Yes.
So Kat was at the Teen Mom reunion that people are reacting to so loudly.
Yes.
The particular part where Kat came to meet Barbara and Janelle. That was your purpose in life.
I had to. This is my second time meeting Barbara, and I had to just see her again.
And then Janelle, what'd you think of that?
She's so tiny.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask her so many questions about why she's choosing to live her life the way she's choosing to live her life. But I am also kind of afraid of her, so I didn't do that.
You didn't, I know.
I'm afraid of her. I was just kind of like, hi.
That's all you did.
Hi. I've never been afraid of anyone like that
You
before.
treated her the way you treated Chelsea.
Yeah, well, Chelsea is... I want Chelsea to be my best friend. So I've made friends with Randy, which is nice.
Yeah.
Went out, had some drinks with Randy like a month ago. And
That's
Leah.
Chelsea's dad.
And Jeremy.
Leah. Oh, wow.
And Cam, of course, my boyfriend.
Cam's been dragged into all this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We all went out, and Randy had a nice time.
Oh, Randy got...
Yeah.
He likes New York, I think.
Yeah, he had a good time.
Yeah. He's a dentist from North Dakota.
Perfect.
And he's an interesting, good guy. And he's got a great daughter, and she's lovely. And she had to have a teen pregnancy, and now she's got her shit together.
Yeah, she has her shit together.
But Janelle, not so much.
No.
And so how did you experience what happened up on stage?
She just stormed off when she was confronted about the Kaepernick stuff.
Right.
And it's just strange to me because I've been on set a lot, given as it's my job, and I've always stayed there when I've been there.
You'll notice that there's a lot of walking off that set over the years.
Yeah.
Kaylin did it all the time.
Yeah.
Janelle all the time. Farrah all the time.
Yeah. Then there was, of course, someone who walked on swinging. I was at that one, too.
There's been more than a few of those. The Brianna one was sort of exceptionally intense.
Yeah. Well,
melee at Teen Mom Land.
It's happened.
Yeah.
How did you get roped into the whole thing?
I'm obsessed with Teen Mom 2.
All right.
I've seen every single episode more than one time. I'm just so fascinated by it.
Why?
And I don't know.
And not the OG, though.
I've also watched most of the OG.
Okay.
And I was also very excited when you introduced me to Caitlin and Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that
Yes,
they're
that's
great.
something worthy of your obsession.
Yeah, Caitlin
They're
and Tyler. I remember before I met you, this is after I met you because I texted you about it. But I saw them on a plane.
Oh, yeah.
And I was too scared to say hi. These are the people that intimidate me.
Why are you scared of this Janelle?
Because she's a bit of a loose cannon.
Are there any other figures in life that similarly intimidate you? I mean, if you were to walk up to Nancy Pelosi,
When I met you, I was intimidated.
Well, that didn't last very long.
Then I told you my life story like a week later. As I'm sure you get that a lot. Yeah.
But if you walked into Nancy Pelosi, would that be intimidating?
No.
Yeah.
No, because if she yelled at me, that'd be great. I'd just start filming it. Which I could have done with Janelle, I guess, but
yes.
I don't. But you never know what. Like she
doesn't give a shit if you fucking tape her. She'll go berserk.
Yeah.
So Janelle is very fragile.
Yeah.
Right. She gets her feelings hurt, and that's why she just exits. She just can't tolerate it, and she leaves. Right. And people get very confused about what I'm doing there. I am a doctor. I'm not her doctor.
Right.
I'm not her therapist. I'm not doing treatment. I'm hosting a 2-hour reunion show.
Right.
I'm strictly hosting. I offer all of them my phone number. They can call me if they want to use me as a resource. Caitlin and Tyler do, particularly around Butch.
Right.
But I don't have a license to practice in these states where we do these reunions.
Right.
I am not their doctor. It's very clear. I am their host of a show where I also happen to be a doctor, so I know kind of interesting questions to ask.
Yeah.
But the public cannot get their head around that.
Or if something bad happens, you can intervene as a doctor.
And a lot of that show, first of all, we as you have seen, we film for 20 hours.
Yeah.
30 hours to get 2 hours of television.
Yeah.
So there's lots of editing and stuff that the public has no idea what they're actually looking at. And there's scripted things that happen.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I don't try to help people understand that I'm not Janelle's doctor. Not only that, there are Department of Social Services, the sheriffs, multiple therapists. They have their medical team. I'm not part of it.
Yeah.
If there was an emergency on set, would you be the one who intervenes?
Like there have been many emotional emergencies on set.
I could do something. I could be a good Samaritan, but I would hand off to her doctor.
All right, I just like that kind of a concept where Janelle's choking and you say, I'm a doctor, I can handle this.
I can do that. And I can deal with the emotional crises and things that come up too. But it's not, that's just my skill set. It's not, I'm treating somebody. I'm not responsible for their care. It's, I try to make sure they don't get hurt. I sort of feel like that's just ethically my responsibility, that whatever happens up there, I try to contain it a little bit. So people are always like, why did you confront Janelle? It's like, what would happen if I confronted you when you were in your disease?
I wouldn't give a shit.
You would either not give a shit or you'd leave.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you'd throw up every defense. You'd throw up the four shields.
I would do all of the above.
Yeah.
One after the other.
People have a weird misconception that somehow by confronting people, you're going to change them. It's the opposite. When you confront somebody, that's when you can't change them. You can't even get through to them at that point, especially fragile people like Janelle.
Right.
You have to be very gentle and very around behind. It's like, I wonder what's happening. How do you feel? Like
after the whole Nugget incident, her dog being murdered.
Oh yeah.
I have not. The first thing I do when I wake up every morning is Google Janelle.
Just to see what's up?
Just to see what's up. Is that sad?
Yes.
Yes. No. Well, because, the other day, the dog like snapped at
a young child.
A young child. And it was a Frenchie. This is important to the story. A Frenchie.
Because you like Frenchies?
Yeah, well, because it's a little dog, man.
Yeah.
And he took the dog, apparently threw it around, and then took it out of the woods and shot it dead.
Who did this?
Her husband.
Oh, man.
And they're still together.
And the dog's name was Nugget?
The dog's name was Nugget.
And he shot poor Nugget?
Nugget. R.I.P. Cool. Justice for Nugget.
Is that what the hashtag is?
That's the hashtag. Of course I know the hashtag. Come on. You think I'm an amateur?
So what's the repercussions of this terrible fucking execution of the dog?
The kids got taken away.
Yeah, the kids got taken away and she lost her job.
How do I not know about this?
Well, because you're doing the wrong thing when you wake up in the morning.
You got to check
You got to be
hashtag
Googling Janelle every morning.
Justice for Nugget.
Yeah.
And so I'm very concerned about her because she's lost her job.
Yeah.
So congratulations, everybody. It was in crashing down to Janelle.
Yeah.
Now you've really put her in a bad situation.
Right.
Her job was to be on Teen Mom.
Yes.
Okay.
And she was in a mesh relationship with her husband, was, according to Barbara, was working, even though there's many issues, many serious issues, but had a team of professionals working on them.
Yeah.
Now that's all disrupted. The kids are taken away. I don't know what the status of their relationship is. And she lost her job.
They were shopping at Lowe's together the other day. I happen to know that as well.
So they're still together again. Yeah, Barbara was actually defending David.
Really? Yeah.
Where are the children?
With other relatives.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
Sad.
but
I mean, as funny as it is, that the dog got
but
killed.
what kills me is
It's
that
not. My cat bit me the other day, and my boyfriend, to his credit, did not shoot my cat.
Really?
So
Did he throw it around at least?
no.
Did you
so
consider shooting the cat for a second?
I'm not insane.
Yeah. He was more afraid of cat than the cat.
Yeah.
So
He's a smart man.
But what bothers me is people on social media have harmed this woman directly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, social media can be really tough. I mean, I've never
Not just tough.
had it to that level, but I've had some hate.
They are executioners.
Yeah.
And they don't understand what they're doing, that they are literally harming people a lot. And it's what's interesting about that group, that Teen Mom 2 group, they came in, they started, their show started when social media started. So they're really the first sort of public figures to have to deal with this from the beginning. And it's not been good for them.
No.
No, I know.
It's not good for anyone.
People forget they're talking to a real person.
And they also think they know them or their lives.
Right.
Which they have no clue about.
I mean, I have some clues, but I've done a lot of Googling.
And you've met them and you see it's not quite what you thought.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And so it's I mean, look, does Leah seem different to you now that you've actually had drinks with her and stuff?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. The same thing would happen if you went out and had dinner with Janelle.
Yes.
You would think different. You would think that you would have a more complete picture of this life and this human being and be more respectful, frankly. The way the world deals with it is though they're cartoon characters and pincushions, things that they can just, or punching bags, that they can just express their moral superiority and outrage upon.
Yeah.
Amber came on Dopey, and she was a pleasure.
Yes.
And then I had a and she swore to me on Dopey that she'd never drink again. And she wound up drinking again. And then we had this long talk about it, and she was just the sweetest person.
Yeah,
you know?
she has outbursts, but when you see her, of course, the outbursts go on TV.
Yes.
But when she's sort of her normal self, living her life, she's lovely.
Yeah.
It must be it must be a real burden to Gary to be one of these people. And I mean, I don't know what the income is for a teen mom, like how good it is or what the upside is. But even one nasty comment at me, like, it fucks me up.
Really?
Yeah, I have no fucking skin. I am incredibly
I didn't used to. I remember back when Amazon first started putting up book reviews, like commentary about books, because I've written a few books over the years, it would drive me out of my mind. I'd read them. I'd be just like, I would experience righteous indignation.
Yeah.
Who are you to say that? You have no idea. And now I just don't listen to anything anymore.
Yeah,
I
just
can't.
get used to it. I try to not be on.
So if people write nasty stuff on you on social media, you don't care?
Not anymore.
Not at all?
Kat's a
Not anymore.
hardcore libertarian. It says brutal things on television.
There must be terrible repercussions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We're doing a podcast.
We're doing
That's
a podcast.
Dave from Dopey. That's Kat Timpf from Fox News. And we're doing hashtag This You Live This Life podcast. Bob Forrest, because we're in New York City, Bob Forrest is not here. Dave is sitting in. Kat's our guest.
We love Bob.
We're having out. Yeah, we do love Bob. And I butt dialed Bob today, and he called me right back. I said, sorry, I butt dialed you. I was telling Dave that I fashioned myself a libertarian.
Yes.
Until I met you.
Yeah, no, I'm hardcore.
Yeah, she's the real deal.
Legalize everything.
Now I feel like kind of a socialist. I feel like I might be a little bit of a socialist. I do, because I'm looking for solutions. Like I can't stand what's going on in California with the homeless and the stuff, and the road. There's so many things in California that are literally the unraveling of civilization. I'm asking the government to do their job all the time, and I don't see a libertarian solution to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, just less government can be better. More government's not always the answer for all the problems.
That's what I thought, and I think it very, very rarely solves problems well. Very rarely, occasionally, but very rarely. And I've always believed that too. But I am calling upon them to solve some things. There's stuff they got to do.
I was flying home. I went on a family vacation last week. We went to the Bahamas, and I was flying home. I rarely watch news programs on TV, but I was on the plane, and I see Fox News, and they're saying that the headline is 48% of Americans think socialism is a good thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
So I start listening to it, and they're basically talking exactly what you were talking about, but in the negative way.
Yeah, well, it's that study actually showed that everyone means something different when
they don't know what socialism is.
They don't know what it is. They don't know what they're talking about. They're actually meaning little pieces of socialism. Everyone wants a little piece of it. No one really wants the big thing. But in that same day, there was another study by an organization called, oh shoot, these guys are going to kill me. I forget their civic. I can't remember the name of it, but they did a study. You guys are going to love this. And do you watch the TV show Veep?
I've seen some episodes.
Okay. Well, there was a storyline with Jonah running for president, and he really caught wind when he said, Arabic numerals, those are terrorist numerals. We got to get Arabic numerals out of the schools. No more Arabic numerals. And he got this huge groundswell of support around eliminating Arabic numerals from school. 58% of Americans agreed Arabic numerals should not be taught in schools.
What?
58%.
That's more than half.
It took my breath away. With that little piece of data, I thought to myself, I can't believe whatever comes out of the American mouth now. I don't care. If you're that ignorant and that xenophobic, that Arabic numerals brought here by Leonardo.
We're talking about the same thing.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Correct.
5. The things you know as numbers are called Arabic numerals. Leonardo of Pisa brought them into the Western European lexicon in the 12th century. His other name is Fibonacci. You know him as Fibonacci. He's the one that brought them here, and we've been using Arabic numerals for the last 1,000 years, roughly.
Maybe I'm retarded, but I didn't know Fibonacci or Arabic numerals.
Well, but it's to me that was just
numbers.
It's numbers.
I got no problem with numbers. I'm glad I learned a little bit about them when I was in school. It served me well.
People don't like the word Arabic.
I understand that, but how ignorant can you be and xenophobic at the same time? That it really, I thought, I don't care what any other poll ever shows.
Yeah.
Because it's meaningless now to me. This is who's taking these polls. I don't care what I don't care what.
And they vote probably, huh? Now I'm sad. I didn't come here to get sad.
All right, we're going to talk more Teen Mom for you.
Okay.
We'll talk more about Janelle. So who else do you like in Teen Mom?
Well, I'm obsessed with Chelsea. She's the best.
She's doing great.
All of them I'm afraid of.
There's another thing I was taking shit for on social media is that I said something about her getting a break and letting the husband babysit. Just a turn of the phrase.
Yeah.
I when my wife would go do stuff, I would babysit my kids.
Yeah.
It means leaving somebody behind to watch the kids.
Right.
It can be the husband or the wife or somebody hired. It's just somebody taking the heat for that night left behind while somebody else does something else. Babysitting.
Yeah.
How dare you say baby? Husbands don't babysit.
Oh.
Well, I did lots of babysitting.
I babysit all the time.
And fathering. But if I wanted to give my wife a break, I would say, let me babysit. And I go, I'll take it myself.
Yep. People get so... I wrote this column where the headline was about this great-grandmother who got locked up because she had a CBD pen at Disney World.
Yeah, what'd you write?
She just thought it was bullshit and insane.
I thought it was illegal in all 50 states.
I thought so too. It was insane, but somebody tweeted at me, never use the word mother or grandmother when referring to a woman if it has something to do with the story. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you know what? I did that because I was being sexist against myself. Like, you caught me. Like, I just don't understand. Also, it was a little relevant. She was at Disney World, and I think it'd be stranger if she was a 70-year-old woman just kicking it by herself at Disney World. So
the grandmother,
it was relevant.
It's by the way, it's a story point.
Yes,
it's part of the story.
Correct. And even if it's not, if it was a grandpa, I would have said the same thing.
By the way, what do you call it? Maybe a 2-generation removed relative of this child? Or what do you call it?
Take the time to tell me that
It's so weird that people would
I love when people insinuate that I'm sexist against myself. I just don't understand. Sometimes, I've, it's been
You
like.
need to be more non-binary.
Yeah, right,
Clearly.
Exactly. Because I'm a woman, I identify as a woman, always have. I believe I always will.
Nice.
You never know, though. Sometimes
things can happen.
You never know. I mean, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, maybe 5 years from now. I don't know. But I just don't understand that. Or, I hate when people are like, yo, this is stupid shit, or you're an idiot, or you're dumb, or your tits are small, or this or that.
Oh, my God.
I get a lot of your tits are small comments, and it's like, I'm so thankful for them, though, because if I didn't get those comments, how else would I know?
Yeah, I guess right.
How else? I just go to the store and pick out a double D bra and put it on and be like, what's wrong? Why doesn't this fit? I don't understand.
Not until Twitter
But thankfully,
fixed that.
Twitter came along, and now I know which bras to buy.
That's good. They had
Incredibly useful.
did a service.
So a lot of people would be alarmed what some of their grandpas will say to me on Twitter.
Grandpas?
Oh yeah, they'll just say really sexual, weird things.
So you get sort of weird acting out behaviors.
Oh, yeah,
You
I
either
get-
get punishing or sexual acting
Yeah,
out.
that's why I don't really read my Instagram comments, because when I do, it's either sexual harassment, I want to come on your glasses. Or that's a common one.
What?
Or this guy named Daddy Loves Your Pretty Feet, or various feet accounts want to sniff my toes, want to buy my old shoes off
do you wear
me.
open-toed stuff on Gutfeld?
I do sometimes, and I always regret it.
Yeah.
Some people, they like to, post little pictures of their toes in the sand on the beach, and, with a little inspirational caption. I can never do that, because that's douchey, but if I wanted to, couldn't do it, because someone would be jerking off to that.
Oh.
And I just don't want to do those kind of favors for Daddy Loves Your Pretty Feet.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Well, the other women
are
who are
gross.
putting their feet in the sand have that happening to them, right?
I don't know. Probably not as many strangers follow them on the internet.
Right.
Men are beyond. We're just beyond.
I want to come on your glasses seems like really intense.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever texted that to me. I don't wear glasses, but
Yeah, that's probably why.
I do, and no one's ever texted that to me.
Well, consider yourself lucky, because it's happened to me many times. And these people will have their real face next to their profile, and and it'll be then I'll go to their account and it's them and their children. And I'm like,
wow.
This is on the internet. People can see this. If I was married to someone and I saw he was messaging that to strange women on the internet, I would be quite upset.
Yes, I understand.
Quite. I'm even going to throw a quite in there before upset.
Yes.
To convey just how I would feel.
The magnitude of your outrage.
It's hysterical. I want to come on your glasses. I mean, I'm going to be thinking about that. I'm sorry. I just think it's so.
Yeah, it's beyond.
It's hysterically horrible.
I don't understand how people think about stuff like that. And I think I know men pretty well.
Yeah.
It's next level. It's totally next level.
It makes sense to me that men would go there, but I don't know how they get themselves to go there. You know what I mean?
I got this whole paragraph one time that said this whole fantasy. I'm going to buy you glasses with windshield wipers on them, because you're going to need them with how much I. Yeah. And his profile picture, I'll never forget. It was a purple cartoon hippopotamus, and I'm like, you look a lot less threatening than you really are.
Purple cartoon hippopotamus.
Yeah, it's always weird to get sexually harassed by a cartoon hippopotamus.
Wow.
Isn't that cartoon got a name? The purple hippopotamus.
I think it was a cartoon in the 60s.
Yes. I think
So
too.
yeah, he's an older
it's
guy.
my Instagram account. I'm sorry.
It's actually
Isn't it Penelope or something?
I have no idea. I don't know a lot about cartoon hippopotamus.
You don't know about cartoon history and
No.
the New Zoo Review or something. But that's just I digress.
News Review is a bunch of Muppet
Weird,
characters.
people in outfits. But there was a
Yes.
purple hippopotamus character.
Oh, that's probably where it came from.
It's very disturbing. Yes. I'm old and I watched a lot of TV.
Facebook fans want to know if you'll discuss Artie Lang.
Us?
Fucking Artie. First of all, before
You did a Dopey pod with him.
the last time, huh? Kozo?
Yep,
From
the elephant.
News, or was it? All right, there you go.
Thanks, Cam.
Well
the
done.
last time I saw Chris alive was at Artie Lang's house. I love Artie Lang. The story about Artie is he's been on probation and he did something that violated his probation. And he got arrested. I don't think...
We saw him doing cleanup and stuff. He was doing trash cleanup. And...
The way you Google Janelle, I Google Artie to see what's going on with him. And, like, I don't know what's going on with him, but I want to think that he didn't relapse. I saw him in a video. He said he had 111 days clean. He sounded crisp. He sounded
You could
good.
tell. I mean, you spotted, you got it. So
I can't tell.
Artie's like the best of them. I mean, he can manipulate and charm.
I was in his house. He was all fucked up. I had no fucking idea.
Really?
I didn't know Chris was high. I just didn't know. I just assumed they were on my level, or they said they were clean. Like, I just give people the benefit of the doubt.
I have been duped by the best.
Yeah, I just would have hated to have been clean and someone tell me that I was using. So if someone tells me they're clean, unless they're all fucked up.
Right. I make that assumption too. Although I will, if I have the ability, go, here's a cup.
So what's your take on the Artie story?
I'm always, and Artie, peace and love, my friend. I say this with peace and love. I'm always relieved when he's in prison and jail.
Well, he's there now.
Now, not to say he couldn't get drugs there. I mean, he's pretty coy, pretty cunning. If anybody could get him, he could in prison. But I still think he's better off there than on the street.
Did you see him pumping gas in the video?
I saw him working on a trash truck or something.
Yeah. He seemed good, though. He seemed, like, boisterous and, like,
Oh,
sharp.
yeah, that's right. He was at a gas station at one point talking to somebody.
He was talking about Howard. He was sending Howard his love.
Yes,
it was very sweet.
I did see that. And, when people are not resentful and not aggressive and not irritable, I figure they're sober. So that looked a little sober to me. But look, here's the dirty little secret of addiction medicine. If for severely addicted individuals, here's the data. It usually takes about 8 years, during which time, Dave, they self-initiate attempts at stopping. That's the first 8 years. Then the next 4 to 5 years they spend trying to get clean. Is it 8 years after that? I'm sorry, it might be 5 years self-initiating and then 8 years and 4 or 5 treatments to get 1 year of sobriety.
That's my story right there.
Yeah.
I got clean probably after 13 years of heroin
Of
using.
trying, yeah. You try by yourself, then you try in treatment, and it takes multiple treatments. And eventually you get 1 year. And Artie is still in that trying phase.
He's got more years than that in it. But
in using, or
but
he really didn't try.
Right, and I think he is trying now.
Yeah, I agree.
And he seems incredibly earnest, and I only like peace and love, and I wish Artie only good stuff.
All right, so that's
I have a question that brings it back to Janelle.
She had some bad drug problems.
Yeah, so she has some bad drug problems, and I noticed on the most recent season of Teen Mom, she was drinking beers a lot.
Not good.
That's not good, right?
It's not good if she was an addict. I don't know. I never got involved with her treatment or anything, so I don't know if she actually. There are people that use a lot of drugs, especially these days, that aren't addicts.
Yeah.
We never used to see that. Everyone was like, Dave, that's all I took care of for many years. But then with doctors pouring pills out everywhere, we started seeing people that look like addicts, but we take them off the drugs. They didn't want them anymore.
Yeah.
And that's not you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and that's not what I'm used to. But there is a lot of folk out there like that now, and she might have been one of those.
What's the deal with folk like that?
I feel like that's the availability of very powerful drugs is so profound now. People that are psychiatrically not well or trauma survivors, whatever, looking for solutions to their problem, find their way to drugs, and it's just they get strung out. But they're not addicts in the sense of that they don't have substance use disorder per se. So what else is going on there in Facebook?
Drew, what are your plans for Memorial Day weekend?
I'm going to hang out in New York with my family.
Nice.
I'm going to be on her TV show tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
I know. I got to work on that.
What are you going to do? What do you have to do to work on it?
They give us these topics, and you think about them.
You think of fun stuff.
What are the topics?
Yes, that'll be Saturday.
Probably listen to that since it's live.
Gutfeld on
Yes,
Saturday.
watch the
I'll
Gutfeld
be sitting
show.
next to Kat, I think,
Yes.
right?
Well, I never
maybe
know.
one removed.
I never know. I never know who will be next
And
to me.
Tyrus, Kat and Tyrus will be there.
Yes.
And what were the topics? Let's talk about
We're
it.
going to be talking about the YouTube camp.
Which is to learn what?
To learn how to be a YouTube star. Parents are sending them. And if this camp was around when I was a kid,
You'd be
and
there.
my parents did not send
you'd
me,
be a teen mom.
I would be
Yeah.
A teen mom.
pissed off.
Yeah.
I would be pissed. Because I had to, do the whole attention seeking thing the normal way, like without the internet.
What did you do?
Well, I was really into Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Do you know that I knew them too?
Really?
You wear this?
No.
Oh, dude.
Really?
Maybe I shouldn't tell you this part
Tell the
of
story.
my life.
Tell me.
I had a show on MTV at one time. You wear this Loveline?
Yeah. I've listened to every episode of Loveline on YouTube since then. Come on, Drew.
But it was a TV show for a while.
Uh-huh.
And Mary-Kate and Ashley decided they were going to do their big breakout movie, and they brought everyone over from MTV to play characters on their thing, and I was one of them, and I was their father on the New York Minute.
Wow.
That's right. See, I'm more of an It Takes Two gal. More of a How the West Was Fun gal.
Got it.
But
sorry you missed my cinematic triumph.
Oh, well, I know what I'm doing right after this.
Yes.
Well, let's have a watch party.
So anyway, they were lovely, by the way. Mary-Kate particularly.
Oh, yeah. She's my favorite.
Yeah.
Better than Ashley?
I'm not better. She just was. She was just.
She's more of a people person than Ashley?
Didn't she had some stuff going on, right? And I think I sort of picked up on some of that. Just more tender, sweeter person, I'd say.
Yeah.
Sort of,
So Ashley should get her shit together.
No, Ashley was
she's listening.
Ashley?
She's fine.
What's your deal?
What's your deal, Ashley?
Mary-Kate was always... But I wanted to be a detective like they were on the Super Duper Snoopers show. So when I was like 7 years old, I used a typewriter that my dad had to make flyers advertising my detective agency.
How old were you?
Like 7 or 8.
Wow.
And never got a call to solve any murders, unfortunately. I was really hoping that I would solve crimes.
Thank God you didn't run into the gentlemen that seem to be attracted to you on Twitter these days.
No.
Yeah, when you were 7, that would have been a catastrophe.
No, it would have been.
That's awful. Wait, how did we get down this rabbit hole? I was.
No, YouTube camp.
Oh,
YouTube camp.
All right, but maybe it's like. Like apprenticeships now. Like maybe this is a new kind of skill set that just we're sort of irresponsible if we don't let kids develop.
Oh, yeah. I would have been a child YouTube star.
Yeah.
But instead, I just...
Greg Gutfeld.
Instead, I just kind of like made up plays alone in my room.
What else are we talking about? Give me 2 more topics.
Avenatti.
Well, that's easy.
What is Avenatti?
Avenatti, the attorney.
He's not a good dude, it turns out.
Stormy Daniels' attorney.
Turns out not
What's
such a
wrong
good
with
dude.
CNN that they put him on 24/7 and started talking about giving him his own show and running for president?
Yeah, he was on top of the world, and now he's
by the
going
way,
to go to jail.
It's not as though this wasn't known by the legal community.
Right, that's what's interesting.
What's interesting? Maybe Fox News ought to investigate you and me. Maybe they're making huge mistakes putting us on.
I don't understand the whole him allegedly stealing settlements from clients.
He'd get like a $5 million settlement and would keep $4 million and tell the client they got $1.
Okay, so that's how he did it. Because I was like, you think they're not going to notice? Like, it's not like a piece of candy. Like, you know, if that's missing, you're going to be like, hey, where's my multi-millions of dollars?
I guess he was just lying about what the settlement
was.
was.
Some good old-fashioned lying.
Just good old-fashioned stealing and lying.
Just stealing and lying. All right, great guy.
Basic stuff. He planned to pay him back. It was just borrowing.
No, I don't fall for that shit.
And what's our third topic?
What else do we got?
You said Bill de Blasio.
We're going to talk about the Democratic race. I'm going to focus on de Blasio because, like, what is he doing?
I know. He's got a little work to do here.
No shit.
Yeah.
Is it real, though? Is it real? It doesn't seem
whatever
real.
it is, it's distracting him from here, and that's not good. Have you been on the L train lately? It's like, come on.
Yeah. No. I rarely go a day without seeing somebody pee on the street.
Oh, yeah. But I'm going to tell you, compared to the mayor of Los Angeles, you have a saint.
Yeah.
Because you will...
There's people shitting on the street there then.
Shitting, everything, dying on the street. That's our problem, is they're just dying, because it's such squalor, and the rats have taken over. Literally, it's like some sort of rat kingdom now in Los Angeles.
Well, in L.A., everyone shoots up into their neck on the street.
Yes,
and here,
yes.
I mean, like when I was a kid,
they
won't on the street here, but we don't do it anymore.
They won't arrest people.
The
they will not arrest them in L.A. for using.
Oh yeah, you literally walk downtown in L.A., you're seeing people shooting up into their neck.
Yeah, and the cops to do. And the cops 5 feet away.
Like you feel left out if you're not doing it.
I that's one of my regrets as a drug addict that I never got to hit my neck.
Did you hit your penis?
Never.
Penis or neck. Those are what real drug addicts do.
I'm a real drug addict. I feel very comfortable with never having hit my neck.
Saw an episode of Intervention Also one of my favorite shows.
That's a good show.
Where the woman was injecting into her butthole.
How did she do that?
That's a whole thing.
That's a thing?
That's a whole thing.
Now,
But why, though?
Oh, because the hemorrhoids are there.
I don't know. I have a friend.
Yeah, there's a lot of veins down there. Yeah, yeah.
Dopey guest who was just on.
Hey, what's the matter, Susan? You can't tolerate a little drug addict talk?
Just a little butthole talk.
He would use meth, Dr. Drew. He would use meth, and he shot meth, but his favorite way of doing it was sticking it up his ass. That was.
Well, he'd absorb it through his. But this is shooting into the
needle.
How do you put a needle into a hole? You mean into the
anus, around the anus,
the rectum, if you will.
No,
so
not
you're just kind of skin popping the anus.
Yes, except they're big veins down there. That's what.
How do you
see them?
Yeah,
that's what a hemorrhoid is.
That's yucky. I think you need help for that.
You're injecting your hemorrhoids?
If you're really,
I would tend to agree. I would intend.
Hey, what's the worst happening? You sclerose the vein. The hemorrhoid gets better.
But it doesn't.
Sort of a genius.
When I would miss a vein, you know what I'm saying? If I missed a vein, you don't get the same feeling. You don't get the same rush.
Right, of course.
So if you're going to the trouble of shooting,
maybe this person has bad hemorrhoids.
Well, or maybe he has shitty veins. Either way,
it was a woman. I believe her name was Katie.
Was Katie
no,
older?
She was like not that old, but she looked super old. She was like mad addicted to drugs.
Yeah, boy, it's bad time.
I mean, obviously, if you're shooting into your anus, you probably need to get some help with that.
I'm so glad you were here, Kat, to share this with us.
Oh, well, sorry. I don't know. This is the show. My boyfriend will not watch Intervention with me.
Why?
Yeah, Cam. Why?
Too disturbing?
It's too much a little bit.
Yeah,
too much a little bit.
I had like a month clean, and my wife was like, I need to watch Intervention. Does it bother you? And I'm just sitting there, and it's like all you're seeing is your life. And I love Intervention. The only thing that I didn't love about Intervention was the repetitiveness of it. I love that stupid song. How about the song at the end? Sing it. Yeah. Thank you. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that?
I don't know.
It's like, why don't we record a version where you can hear the words? I love it, though. And you sing it really nicely.
Thank you. I'm tone deaf.
It's like, don't go chasing rainbows is what I hear.
And so the repetitiveness, because the structure is the same.
Yeah. The show.
Drug addicts have repetitive stories.
I know. The best one. Do you see the one where the guy who huffs the spray cleaner? And
yeah.
She's like all very sad. How about Jeff Van Vanderslosh? And he fucking
Van Vonderen?
He relapsed, and they should have done an intervention about him. That would be the show I want to see.
Who is he?
He's the guy that says, "Listen, we all really love. I see a lot of people who love you like crazy, but they feel like they're losing. That they feel like they're losing you.
Dude,
or
that's really good.
You're gonna say what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say what you're gonna say. We're gonna say, and then we're done. Or there's the bottom line of an intervention is there's nothing we won't do to help you get better, but there's nothing we will do to help let this go on one more day."
This is really good.
I'm a Van Vonderen fan. We see a bunch of people love you like crazy, but they feel like they're losing you.
So, Kat,
they want to fight to give you back.
Would be if Janelle had an intervention and Van Vanderslosh was the interventionist.
I'm going to need you to respect him by calling him Van Vonderen.
Wait, but he relapsed.
He relapsed.
Yeah.
Now he's back though. He's back intervening again.
Yeah.
Who was the other one? The old lady.
Candy Finnegan.
I love her.
Well,
Candy Finnegan.
Candy's a friend. Candy's been on this show a couple times.
You know Candy Finnegan?
Yeah. Susan, you know Candy. Yeah.
You know Candy Finnegan?
Yeah.
Candy would come
And her
on my
husband.
podcast.
And her husband's a great guy.
Can I
too.
just sit there and watch?
If you want
and
to.
see her in the flesh?
Yeah.
She's the best.
She is badass.
She's badass, and I've known her since early in my career with dealing with drug addicts.
I
don't
Kat
think
sang
she
the
was.
song really well.
Yeah.
I really like
But
it.
Candy is worthy of your time.
Oh, hell yeah, she is.
And what's the husband's name? I'm forgetting the husband's name.
have no
He's
idea.
also badass. Yeah.
I don't
we
like
had him
that
together.
Canadian guy though.
Ken Seeley?
Yeah, with the beady eyes. I don't like him.
The meth addict?
Yeah, I don't
Ken
like
Seeley?
him. Was he a meth addict? I don't think so.
Yeah,
really?
yes.
I think
I
he
know
was
for a
just an
fact he
alcoholic.
was.
Really?
I know for a fact he was, sir.
I don't like him.
Oh, I do.
You like Ken too. Is
But
there anybody
Candy,
you don't like?
No.
I don't like Ken. I love Jeff and Candy.
Candy is the best.
Candy should be your idol.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she is.
It's worthy. Okay.
I wake up every morning with a big poster of her over my bed. No, I'm kidding.
I'm going to have her do an intervention on you about letting go of Janelle. That's what
Okay. Well, I do Google her. It's just, this relationship that she's found herself in, I'm just so fascinated with it.
But she's had in some ways worse.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. I mean, I'm not in any way excusing anything he has done, and nor am I saying it's in any way okay. But she's had really problematic relationships her whole life.
Yeah.
And remember, her dad gone. Barbara's been tough.
Yeah.
Every relationship in her life has been a disaster.
Yeah.
And, this one, the other thing they're getting on me about is early on in that relationship, Barbara told me that he keeps her kind of glued together. I was trying to compliment him. I was looking for ways to try to make a rapport with him when he was still on the show.
Yeah.
And I said, well, at least you keep Janelle kind of glued together, like emotionally supported. And that's, unfortunately, has nothing to do with his abusiveness. It's how she gets sucked into this relationship. It's sort of now they're like in this enmeshed thing.
Yeah.
And where he says everything he's doing is for his family, and she says she'll do anything to protect him.
You called it trauma bonding.
It is trauma bonding, yeah.
Because I don't want to get too much into this, but I went through my own really bad relationship, and that was a term that you introduced me to that helped me a lot.
Good.
Understand. Because if you're the only two in it, the worse it gets.
You mentioned this too. She was when she was a kid, was in a relationship like that.
Yeah.
And the trauma. You understand the concept of trauma bonding? Yeah.
Tell us, trauma bonding.
It's you literally, when you're in extreme situations, humans need attachment, right? They go to each other, and if the person that you're normally in love and attached to is the source of the trauma, it's crazy making. And for whatever neurobiological reasons, it makes you attach even more powerfully to that person.
Yeah.
It's like the
real thing.
pimp-ho relationship kind of thing.
Kind of. It's that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's that you go in and you get it becomes a cult of two is what it is.
Yeah, that's what you said, cult of two.
Yeah, it becomes cultish. You get sucked into this thing.
Right.
And but it's it's a biological intensity that if you're not aware of what your brain's doing to you, you stay. Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to anyone who's never experienced it.
Probably not.
It doesn't even make sense to myself.
Right, and that's part of the crazy making. But again, just think about it this way: the person who is your deepest attachment in the moment is the source of the trauma.
Right.
So you're going to the person who's the source of the trauma. Wow, that makes your brain just
Yeah.
It fractures and it makes you look for you end up being kind of confused, and you go into protest. It's like a mom being separated from a baby being separated from the mom. They protest. A baby protests. You start having protestation feelings when you're trying to get away from that person.
Because
Yeah.
you feel like this need to be with them.
Because of the intensity of the bonding. Yeah, it's very crazy making.
And that's Janelle's thing?
Probably. I don't know. I'm not in with her enough to know, really. I just, Janelle, we always handle very carefully, so I don't really know all what's going on with her.
See, I'm glad I'm just stuck on this terrible end of Game of Thrones as opposed to Teen Mom.
You didn't like that?
Oh, it's so bad.
I don't watch that show.
You're lucky. It was so bad.
I tried to watch the first episode for like a couple minutes, felt like homework, didn't like it.
Dr. Drew, did you watch it?
Yeah.
You liked it?
I didn't like it, but I didn't dislike it. And I felt like, God, these guys were in a conundrum. To finish this legacy, how do you wrap it up nicely?
For my money.
Janelle gets the throne.
Yeah, Janelle gets the throne.
You bring her in on a dragon out of nowhere.
With Candy. With
Candy Finnegan?
Maybe Candy's the dragon.
Candy be the hand. Candy would be Janelle's hand.
No, the problem, if we're going to talk about this for a second, the problem started last season because the chemistry, and I'm sorry, this is going to sound retarded, but the chemistry between Jon Snow and Daenerys was terrible. There was no chemistry there. And I believe there was no chemistry there because earlier on, the actor that played Jon Snow fell in love with the chick on the set, Ygritte, whatever.
The redhead?
Yes, married her.
Is that what happened?
Yes. So he was scared of actually having feelings for fucking Daenerys.
Lest he should unravel the relationship with her husband.
Because of this actual chemistry and on-set
So what you're saying are
romance.
actors should never be allowed to have sex
Not
in
with
real
each
life.
other. Maybe with other people.
They should be clear the difference between acting and real life.
And also the writing was bad. I think also J.R.R. Tolkien or George
got out of
Martin
it. Got out of it.
fucked up, and it went to shit. But it really went to shit because they did a half season as the last season. The fans deserve more. We deserve better. I'm sorry.
I also think they went too far with the extreme battle scenes and stuff. What was nice about so much of the season was the the specificity and intimacy of the relationships and the violence.
Well, that's the most important thing to a great television show is relationships.
Yeah.
And the show started with amazing family relationships, family dynamics. It was cool.
Were there always dragons in it?
There was usually a promise of dragons.
Because I'm just turned off by anything that involves dragons. When I was in high school, there was this one kid who got expelled for printing out his own fake money and trying to use it to buy snacks at 7-Eleven. And he used to wear a lot of dragons on his shirt.
I love that.
So I'm like, he would like that show. And he tried to spin fake hundreds at 7-Eleven.
He's now in Texas and running for president?
I have no, basically, right?
But that show was hot. It was a hot
Isn't
show.
that basically the story of, not Buda Craig, but the Texas?
Yeah, I forget the name.
I've already forgotten his name. Is that weird?
His name.
Wow.
I don't know his name. I just know that show had heat and chemistry and nudity and it was very, very hot. And then I think after it got much more viewers, it became very cold and sterile and tepid. And that's why it sucks. And my in-laws watch it and they were like, this is too close to porn, and they stopped watching it because it was just too shockingly sexual.
They lost all that too. Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah. Oh my God, I couldn't even think of his name.
Weird.
Man, he was a star for a while.
But he, when he was a kid, would have been that guy.
Yeah.
He was stealing and doing all kinds of stuff online. Remember, he had a group of hackers he was in.
Yeah. Man.
Probably wore dragon T-shirts.
He probably wore. This guy had dragon blouses, the men blouses.
So,
they were satiny.
Ooh.
Satiny. There was this one black one with these red dragons. That I still remember.
A boy wearing a blouse with a dragon on it.
Sounds like you're a little xenophobic. Maybe that was a Japanese or
no.
No.
This was like cartoon dragons. Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
He also wasn't Japanese.
No. Okay.
Yeah, he had frosted tips though.
Oh, at how old?
Like 14, 15.
Frosted tips.
Frosted tips and some dragon merch.
Hey, let me show you where Dave grew up. Right over there.
I grew up right there.
See where that white dome is?
Right next to
the buildings between it.
Nice.
And my dad still lives there.
Nice.
Your dad was a dentist.
My dad is a teacher. He was always a teacher. My grandfather was a dentist.
Oh, right.
He was a communist too.
Interesting.
He was a communist dentist. My old grandpa.
From where?
From Russia.
Was he part of the movement in Russia, or was he?
He was actually a Mason. He died when I was 1, so I don't know much of the real story.
But did he come? Was he part of the Bolshevik Revolution, or
no?
He just sympathized with it.
Yeah, communist sympathizer. And
it's weird for Russia. Most of the ones over here were not.
I think he was more of an intellectual. You know what I mean? He enjoyed you enjoy socialism. I think he enjoyed communism the same way. But yeah, this is where I'm from. This is
nice.
Yeah, sweet.
So, producer, how are we doing on time?
Well,
anything going on Facebook? They want to ask any.
We have people following. It's been a long time, so they're all very confused right now.
Why are they confused?
Oh, I love you guys.
Where's Bob? They want to know. Bob is away. We're away.
There's this one guy who's been asking a question for a while, but it kind of has to do a little bit with
all right, what is it?
this spousal abuse thing.
Okay.
I have to remember the story. Okay, so his girlfriend got in an accident and killed some people, and I guess he broke up with her, and she's been stalking him, and then she is very threatening and says she's going to buy a gun. And he
Oh
doesn't know
boy.
what to do.
You call law enforcement.
Well, that's what everybody was answering his question.
Yeah.
But he's obviously feeling very.
You call law enforcement tonight. It's a very sad situation, but you have to be very firm and very clear, swift and sure. You don't screw around with
That's
that.
like spousal abuse, right?
I think threatening to murder someone is abusive.
It's stalking. This is full-on stalking behaviors, and when people are stalking, they're not well. They're having some psychiatric issues. I wish her the best, but in the meantime, you got to bring the axe down hard because that's the only way she's going to get help, and that's the only way this isn't going to devolve into something awful. Yeah, she needs to. Okay, so.
Police, they did nothing because she told them she was joking.
Okay, well,
That's so typical.
you need to whatever. Doc, how old is this person?
Hey, Rich, how old is this person?
How old is he? No, the guy.
I don't know. I didn't ask. I mean, she didn't say.
Well, you do not fool around with these. These are very serious things that should be dealt with utmost urgency and swiftness. And if she threatens anything, she goes to the hospital.
See, when I was in this relationship, he pulled a gun on me, and I stayed with a dickhead.
trauma bonding.
Trombonding.
You gotta walk away, you know.
He is away. She's stalking. It's different. It's different.
Well, that was.
And the stalking is what's escalating. And
Oh boy.
and you should get a restraining order. You've got to just be very, very structured with it. And she hopefully will get some help. So, but awful. Anything else on Facebook?
I wanted to wait until you guys finish your conversation. It was going to be depressing.
Anything else on Facebook?
Anything on scromiting?
Just listening and enjoying your conversation.
Good.
Love Kat.
Oh, I like.
Where can they see you stand up?
Oh, I need to book some more.
Okay.
I need to book some more.
Anybody out there has a comedy club, get Kat booked.
Yeah, I'm actually quite funny. My last stand-up act, I just made fun of my boyfriend.
I'm sure that was fun for you.
How was that, Cam? You're on live right now.
Very sweet about making fun of
At the end. Well, what he meant is I ended the set by being, I said, get me pregnant.
Bring you back around. So, speaking
that
of
sweet?
stalking behaviors, I'm just saying. Maybe that's the teen mom obsession. Maybe
Yeah.
you wished you were a teen mom.
No, certainly not.
No.
Certainly not. No.
Has Kat about her favorite TV shows?
Are there more favorite TV shows than Intervention? and
Intervention, Teen Mom 2,
Teen Mom? Yeah.
I either wake up
and murder shows.
What murder shows?
Anything about murder.
So you must have remember we had that whole HLN show. That's all we did was Jodi Arias. And,
I've seen your show,
Yeah,
Drew. Hell yeah. Jodi Arias, she fascinates me.
Is she interesting?
Did you
Yeah.
like the second season of Making of a Murderer?
No, I couldn't get through it.
Terrible.
Couldn't get through
and
it.
the first season was so good.
So good.
And the second season you can't watch.
No, but Cam and I, we were going through TV, Netflix the other day, and he's making suggestions, and I said the sentence out loud. I said, babe, if there's no actual murder in it, I'm not sure I'm going to like it. And then I was like, oh, Kat.
And then you thought, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, it's about, I don't know, I mean, people kill their people, and then there's this show called Scorned Love Kills. It's like got so much gratuitous, like softcore porn in it. And the actors are always like way hotter than the actual like people that were involved in the murders.
Right.
And
So you're getting murder porn and porn.
Yeah, my friend Nicole and I one time watched that for a whole day. We ordered delivery food like 3 times, and I got to the point where I was like, man, people are just killing everybody. They're just.
You start getting distrustful of everyone.
Yeah, I'm like, geez, there's a lot of people out there that just. But in all fairness, from what I saw on the show, before they murdered each other, it seems like the sex was amazing.
Right. Well, usually is.
Yeah.
Murder sex is known to be
Yeah.
really good, really hot.
So if you want to have the best sex, you do have to either murder or be murdered.
Or get close to being murdered.
Or the show wasn't about people who escaped, because again, I would not watch that.
Do you ever get interested in psychopathy? Psychopaths?
Yeah.
They're interesting, right?
They're so interesting.
Did you see the Ted Bundy series? Yeah,
Of course I did.
Of course.
Of course I did. People invited me out that night it came out.
Did you watch Killing Eve?
No, but you keep telling me
I
to
heard
watch
that
it.
show is the best.
We're going to love this.
Cam, we got to watch Killing Eve.
You have an assignment tonight. Oh,
No.
you are going.
Is it that good? Everybody's saying.
Everyone keeps telling me that I'm
Yeah,
going to
me
love
too.
it.
Well, not only is it that good, it was made for her, given her interest.
Okay.
It's beyond.
So you should watch the show.
Beyond.
Okay.
And in the second season, there's a guy giving a presentation about psychopaths. It's sort of a weird situation, but he says, when you think about psychopaths, don't think about the traits they have. Think about human beings and then start subtracting traits that make them human. And now you have a psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So empathy, caring.
Like, how many
emotions.
people are psychopaths?
1%.
1%. That's
The
a lot.
1%.
It's a lot.
It's the 1%.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, I know.
That's a lot of people.
I know. And some of them are pro-social. They're not all killers, right? It's sort of like if you have that biology and you have some severe childhood trauma, then it's on.
Yeah.
Right? But it can make you just sort of an asshole.
Yeah.
You just don't empathize well with people. And there's a guy named James Fallon. Did we have him on this podcast? Yeah. He he's a Irvine professor, a neuroscience professor. And he was doing studies on psychopaths, MRIs and functional MRIs in the brain and stuff, and he had a bunch of controls on his desk, and he said he was going through them. He had, for the controls, he used like family and friends and students and stuff. He was going through, and he went, "Oh my God, one of the psychopaths got mixed in with the controls," and he went to unblind it and peel it back, and it was his MRI, and so he started asking, looking into himself and asking people around him what they thought of him. He said, "Yeah, you're horrible. And apparently he has there's different kinds of psychopathy. In this particular type, they mistreat their family. Like they're very charming and stuff and can sort of pro-social out in the world, but they're horrible to their family." And he started going back and looking at his family lineage, and it turns out there's like a murder every other generation of a family member, and he's directly related to Lizzie Borden, who kills her family.
Whoa! So how do you deal with that?
He tries to be aware of it, and his family tries to keep him sort of...
And him seeing the MRI was some sort of intervention, I guess. Something to contend with.
Yeah. And how weird was it that he was studying psychopaths?
Maybe because he was one.
And he said when he was an adolescent, he became hyper-religious, and he thinks that was a way of trying to compensate for his lack of feelings. So it's sort of interesting.
Fascinating.
So... we've had ups and downs today. We've talked about addiction and teen mom and intervention. 1%? So, yeah. Oh, that's more like... There's a lot of argument about where sociopath leaves off and psychopath begins. The way I think about it is sociopaths tend to be more manipulative. They do have feelings. They can empathize. They just don't really care to, and they only are interested in what you can do for them. They're just sort of almost kind of criminally in that way. And psychopaths don't have feelings and they're like robots, and they really don't know that you really exist.
It amazes me
that
it's that like stringent that somebody is a sociopath versus they have sociopathic tendencies.
Well, sociopath there's missing pieces of the brain.
Right.
Missing structures. And so that makes them not be able to have these things.
And what about the sociopathic tendencies of an addict in addiction?
I would call that sociopathic, not psychopathic.
Right.
And pretty much all male drug addicts look like sociopaths when you first encounter them.
Yeah.
And the majority of them lose that when they get sober.
That's a beautiful
significant
thing.
majority.
So you can undo it. That's
and
great.
Same with females. The females look the sort of women's a female human's version of sociopath is borderline. Men act out, women act in. That's just the way we're wired. And borderline, all the women look like borderline when they come in for treatment. That goes away too very often.
Fascinating.
So all that chaos and manipulation that you see when they're being intervened upon, a lot of that goes away when they just get off drugs and get sober.
Yeah.
Anything else on Facebook before we wrap this thing up?
I want to know if you're ever going to bring back Loveline.
Dr. Drew After Dark is the new version of that. I think you should go check that out. And I think you will find that it is a new version of Loveline. You ever seen Dr. Drew After Dark?
No, but I'm gonna now.
You should be on it because you can technically be on it because you're a comedian. So
Yes.
I just interview comedians.
Oh, I'll be on it.
And then we do Loveline voicemails and questions. You ever watch Your Mom's House with Tom Segura? And you might like that. This is a spin-off of Your Mom's House.
It's like, talking about men's penises for an hour.
Oh, I can do that.
All right, why don't we wrap this thing up? You good?
I'm good.
Everyone good? Everyone happy?
Oh, yeah,
What?
I just got a Fox Nation show.
What?
It's a comedy advice show, so
Oh my
obviously
gosh.
you'll be on it.
Why are we not promoting that and somehow tying it into that thing we did for Tom about Loveline?
I don't know.
It would be a perfect storyline, right?
I know.
But
It was just announced today. It was announced early.
What's the show? What are you
It's
gonna
called Sincerely Cat. We answer viewer questions.
do? Amazing.
And then we have sketches too.
Perfect.
So yeah.
I'm gonna be on a sketch.
We'll be collaborating.
Done and done.
1,000%.
I'm back in July for Teen Mom OG.
I
guess
wanna
I'll be
go.
seeing you.
Yeah.
So, what's that?
Saying to 51 people, listen to the This Life You Live podcast on drdrew.com and also all the other podcasts that Drew does, including Dr. Drew After Dark.
It's all at DrDrew.com. Everything's
Just
there.
you say that because, this is, say that, Dr. Drew, please. Because Susan's not on the mic and they won't hear it.
Let's
Susan, you say it right here.
Facebook people.
DrDrew.com.
Unless I write it down, he can't remember what.
Start
what
your
it
day,
shows on.
end your day.
We actually have there's a whole thing
DrDrew.com.
they'll drop in at
There
the
you
end.
go.
It's all that stuff.
And if you want to hear the greatest addiction recovery podcast on drugs, addiction, and dumb shit, go to www.dopeypodcast.com. Don't be afraid. Join the Dopey Nation.
These,
Yes.
we all three create some good, interesting stuff that people should take advantage of. It's good.
Yes.
So, all right, guys. See you next time.
Thanks, Dr. Drew.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Dopey Dave. Dave from Dopey.
All right, that's about it for this episode of This Life. Thanks for listening and subscribing on your favorite platforms. Rate us 5 stars and tell a friend. Also, be sure to visit drdrew.com for the latest news. We'll tell you where you can find all of our health-related content, including the latest in-depth series, The History of Opium. You can now listen to it on the Weekly Infusion podcast. We have some great and very interesting and appropriate interviews with key historical players in the history of opium. We're excited about our newest podcast, Dr. Drew After Dark, which has been described as a dark web reboot of Loveline. It's the hottest guest spot for all the most popular comedians. Beware, it is for a mature audience. It is kind of a reboot of Loveline. You can hear the episodes first in a podcast form Thursday. Then on Friday, you can watch all the video episodes when the YouTube page drops on the Your Mom's House YouTube channel. New episodes every week. Subscribe, tell a friend. Also on Doctor.com, you can find Swole Patrol, our health and fitness podcast with Mike Catherwood. If you want something a bit more refined that will expand your intellectual horizons, please subscribe to the Dr. Drew podcast, where I feature a wide variety of very interesting and important guests. Get in-depth interviews there. Last but not least, me and Adam and Dr. Drew Show podcast. It's a lot of fun, and we are still together, and you can get it 5 days a week. So, go to drdrew.com, please tell a friend, and we thank you for it. And thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.